Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Matt Hall here from HighPoint Design Build Group in Wales, Wisconsin. Matt, thanks for jumping on with me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk about your history, your business. You served in the military, so first of all, thank you so much. I see that flag in the background, and that means so much to all of us here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. I'm still in too. So 22 years in and no plans of retiring just yet.
Incredible. I love it. Well, I'm sure that's going to apply to our conversation a lot about business too. So if you don't mind, I'd love to talk to you about your business. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what HighPoint Design Build Group does, how do you describe your business?
Well, it depends on how much time I have with that person. So back in 2021, we actually did a really fun exercise with a really well-known company to properly articulate what we do. So simply stated, we're a residential design build firm where we try to specialize in giving people what they want rather than what they need. And so that can be kind of confusing to people. They might tilt their head, and that's what we want. We really want people to inquire more about what we do, because I think what we do is kind of unique. There's a lot of builders out there. There's a lot of people you can hire to just build stuff, and we can do that too. But I think what we really try to focus on is designing space for people that transform their homes into a place that they really want to be. And we do that with new construction and with remodeling, additions, finished lower levels, where people really want to be in their house and make it function and work properly.
That's really interesting. And you said, so you did that in 2021, but
Yeah.
you've been building a long time. So
yes,
tell me,
started in 1997, where we did only new construction. So started a company, Matt Hall and Son Home Builders, where we were only doing new construction. And those houses started out, pretty modest. And then really as time went on and people saw what we could do, they kind of morphed into bigger houses. In the early 2000s, there was this bigger is better, and people just built bigger houses for the sake of building bigger houses. And
sure,
we kind of fell into that, kind of what the demand was and giving people what they wanted. So we're not a production builder. We're definitely a more customized, smaller, personal attention type construction firm. But as time went on, the economy changed in 2008, 2009. Didn't really affect us all that much. But in 2010, it kind of got weird. People were getting cold feet even more. We had some people that we went down a path with to develop them house plans for them or bidding out their projects, and then they just put the brakes on it.
okay.
So a lot of other things were going on in that time period too. I was also in the military, bouncing in between deployments and things like that. But I would say in 2015 is when I decided to get more into remodeling and additions and doing more with people's existing space. So the name Matt Hall and Son Home Builders seemed very one-dimensional. So that's when we decided to change to HighPoint Builders, HighPoint Design Build Group, where we started offering in-house design, where we were designing all the projects that we worked on.
Wow. So tell me a little bit more. I mean, you talk about being deployed and being in the military while you're running your business. I mean, that's got to be extremely challenging and different. Can you give me a little bit more information about how you were able to manage that?
Yeah, so a little bit of baptism by fire, going through it back when I, enlisted in the Army in 1993. Had several years of just being in the military, serving my country. A lot of that was for personal satisfaction too, but it wasn't until I decided to get out of the military, enlisted in the Army, did all sorts of fun things, training, got selected for the Drill Sergeant Academy, was a drill sergeant for 2 years,
Wow.
got out in 1998, 99 from that, and then was focusing just on my business. So I never really had to deal with the business component and the military in a difficult way, so to speak. But then 9/11 happened, and I was actually out of the military when 9/11 happened. I still had friends and connections in the military, and they said, that they were going. So I re-enlisted to deploy to Iraq in 2000. Well, I enlisted end of 2001 after 9/11 happened, and then quickly got spun up and deployed to
Wow.
Iraq in end of 2002 during the initial invasion. And that's when I had a very fast paced, better figure out how I'm going to do this running a business and being in the military thing. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I had a really great Finnish carpenter who was older than I was, had a lot of experience, super dynamite guy. Paul Baranowski was his name. And he really took my business under his wing, took care of my family and my business while I was gone, dealing with all of those things. So that was challenging for sure, really opened my eyes. I was gone for over a year. And when I came back, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do both of these, I really need to protect my clients, protect the employees that work for us, and have some sort of plan of action and have people in place to help deal with an extended period of absence from the business.
Yeah, I've got to imagine. So our coaches talk a lot about, working on the business instead of in the business. And when, like, I have to imagine when you're serving our country and trying to serve your clients and your community and your employees at the same time, you really do have to step back, step up and say, I'm going to release some of the control and I am going to trust these excellent carpenters that, the carpenter you talked about, and trust your employees that the processes are going to get done. That's got to be really, really interesting though, and challenging.
Yeah, and there's different components to that. So the execution of a job that's underway is pretty easy to do because we're good at what we do and we have really good people that work for us. So that's one component of it, of course, is projects that are underway. How are you going? If you're gone, Matt, how are we going to keep building? Well, that's having good people, a good designer, a good planner, a good job manager, good administrative help that can do that. But then from the business standpoint of it is keeping that pipeline filled and keeping all those day-to-day decisions so that if I was gone for a year, who's filling that pipeline and doing all of those things, building those relationships with clients to make sure when you get back, you don't have to start all over. That's
Yeah.
probably the bigger
When
challenge.
they think about 2002, okay, so we had the World Wide Web. It was like called the World Wide Web then. Like we did have internet, we did have cell phone, but we didn't have that communication in the same way that you and I can just sit here on a Zoom call today, even though we're 50 minutes away, right? Like
Yeah.
that must have been really interesting as well. How did you communicate at times that way?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because ultimately I've deployed 3 times from 2002 through, current day. My last deployment was 2016. And the differences between 2003 in Iraq versus 2016 in Afghanistan were huge, completely different. In 2003, very, very limited sporadic access to the internet. So a lot of it was, all right, if this happens, do this. These are the things you need to take care of. I'll check in when I can. Good luck.
Wow.
Versus 2016, believe it or not, being in a special operations unit and depending on where you are in the military, having access to different things with access to technology can be very different for certain people, depending on what you're doing.
Sure.
But 2016 was much easier to communicate, be involved. Short, good, clear 10-minute conversation can solve a lot in the way of giving people direction.
Yes, instead of like trying to predict all the things that could go wrong and that you would
Yeah,
have to, yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. Well, thank you. I know I asked a few more questions, but
that's okay.
yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much. So my next question for you, and it's obviously this one you don't even have to talk about because we've already talked about, but I'd love for you to. What is the biggest way you impact the community? Obviously, you're serving not only our community here by providing safe, beautiful spaces to live, but also you serve in the military. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about with ways you impact the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I wish I could do more individually, around the community as a company. Certainly, serving in the military. I mean, that's a choice. I love it when people say things to me like, "Oh, thank you for your service." I mean, it's super kind, but we are an all volunteer army, and most of the people in the military know what they're signing up for, and they do it because they want to, not because they have to. So sometimes I don't even know how to respond other than say, thanks for saying that. So, but with that being said, I think some people don't fully understand because you don't know what you don't know, and one weekend a month turns into 3 or 4 days a month, which that one weekend a month always falls on a birthday, a graduation, a wedding, a family get together, and so just juggling with that is sometimes a challenge. But again, I'm not looking for any accolades with that. It's just, you try to manage it as best as you can and deal with it. And really, the funny thing is when people say, "Oh, thank you for your service," and the sacrifice, and certainly it is to some degree, it's the families that really sacrifice the most,
Wow.
the wife, the spouse, the boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, the family members, they're the ones that are always juggling like, "Oh, he couldn't be here," or "We had to do this differently." And like dating back to 2003, there was a lot of things I missed of my kids, that you just try to work through as best as you can.
Wow, that a very different perspective, and thank you for sharing that. And you did say something earlier though that you said in the 90s when you had first enlisted, some of it was for selfish reasons. And I would like to say, in my opinion, I don't think it's selfish at all to want to grow personally and professionally. And that is part of your profession. And it shows what kind of business leader you are because you do want to grow. So I don't think it's selfish at all to want to learn and grow and do different things and try different things and help other people and do something bigger than yourself. I think that shows how unselfish you really are and open you are to allowing things to happen and learn from that. So thank you very much. So when people say thank you, I love that you say thank you, but it is a different perspective. So
Yeah, I guess what I meant in the selfish is, you know, I get a lot of gratification, and I'm very grateful for being able to help people. I think, I was telling you earlier from a HighPoint Design Build Group, what we've wanted to develop and grow into, when we did that exercise is, what we came out of with a whole bunch of meetings and a lot of planning and discussion was a tagline that we put on a lot of our literature and try to communicate people, and that's "Trust us to care as much as you do." And the truth is, I get a lot of satisfaction, and I think our team gets a lot of satisfaction out of being able to solve problems for people and be able to, do something for them that they really need. And when we're able to do that, we're the best version of ourselves. I think we shine more when we're able to do that. And we get a lot out of it when people value what we do and bring to the table. And not that I'm ever like, "Well, I'm not going to treat this customer right," or whatever, but there's a certain level of when customers give you that trust, we want to go above and beyond for them and do things for them. Maybe that we don't even have to, but we're so grateful for that opportunity. And so when I said that about the military, when I first joined the military, the military is a melting pot of people. California to New
yeah.
York, North Dakota to Florida, and you're all coming together. And as you build those relationships really in quick fashion, you learn a lot about people. Some people came from different backgrounds where like this was their only choice. Like they they had to join the military, and I was never in a position where I had to. I wanted to. So I guess that's what I meant in relation to, um, you know, I joined the military for some selfish reasons. I was adventurous. I liked helping people. I liked serving my mother. I had a great mom. she always taught me do something bigger than yourself type of a thing. So
That's
that's all I
beautiful.
was referencing.
Well, our CEO also served in the military during peaceful times. He always talks about, he's really humble. He's like, it was during peaceful times. But he talks about life as a mirror. And when you're reflecting, you want to care for people, and you want people to trust you, they're going to trust you back, and they're going to care for you. And I really think that's a cool opportunity, because if we're looking in that positive light, we're going to find more of that too. So that's cool that you're transferring it to your business. And as much as satisfaction as you get and your team gets, you're giving that, and those people that are receiving that are also giving that and receiving that. So it's reciprocating. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And you meet
The
people
next
that are
question.
genuine, and you find people like that. And like, even what we do, I often tell people, our subs, even the people close to us, like, we're only as good as like the team we assemble, So like, we're like the Green Bay Packers. We're trying to find the best quarterback, the best lineman, the best defense, to assemble a team that can
That's huge.
follow through and execute in all those different scenarios that you find yourself in. And a big part of what we do as a builder, juggling the, yes, we have to be experts at building, but so much of what we do is relationships and being able to manage people. And the all the way down to the painter that calls in sick to his boss for whatever reason and doesn't show up to the job on the exact same time, and that can have a snowball effect. And just
Yeah.
trying to manage that as best as you can.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is the weakest link theory too. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So I know I already talked a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced being deployed, whatnot. What is another challenge that you have faced that other business owners could learn from? If there is one thing that you just want to just share with our business owners that are viewing.
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things that I reflect back on, I started my business when I was very young. So I made a lot of mistakes, little mistakes, big mistakes, but I did it all on my own dime. And if I could reflect back on advice to give somebody else, or a challenge, I think it's really identifying who you are, what you're good at, and trying to stay in that lane as much as possible to provide a solution for somebody and be good at it.
Yes.
When I look back at when I first started building houses, just new homes, oftentimes I would find myself competing with production builders. And there's nothing wrong with production builders. They provide a solution for a certain type of housing as
Yep.
well. And
Absolutely.
and boy, I spent a lot of time and energy trying to be somebody I wasn't. And I could do it. I'm a go-getter and all of that, and that's great. But boy, I spent a lot of energy trying to be somebody I wasn't. And I think if you can figure out who you are, what you want to be, and be really good at that, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and energy, not
Yes.
wasting it trying to be somebody you're not.
And mistakes and money and all that, right? That's
Yeah.
great advice. Thank you. So what does the future look like? And do you have an exit plan?
Yeah, what does the future look like? Well, I think what's happened to us is more and more people, I think, even subcontractor based, when we run into people, they're reacting to us differently. They're like, "Oh, you're HighPoint Design Build Group. You guys do really unique stuff." So I think, what does the future have? I think the future's bright in us really being able and attracting the right customers that allow us to do our craft and do it well. And that's exciting. I think more and more we're getting people coming to us, asking us to do what we really want to do. We can do a lot of
Oh,
things. So that's fun, and that's rewarding. The exit plan, I suppose a lot of industries could say this. I think it's very true in construction. And anytime you're running a construction company, the value of any construction company, especially when you're doing more, I'll say higher end custom. I
mhm.
don't like saying higher end, because higher end implies expensive, and it doesn't need to be expensive. I think we're just offering people ideas, and it's hard to quantify what that company's worth if you're the guy bringing the ideas, or one or two people are bringing the ideas, because if you sell the company and those two idea guys or
Yeah.
girls leave, then
It
really what's
doesn't
the
matter.
company worth?
Yeah.
So, however, with that being said, I think we have some people in place now that have that same vision, that same desire. So there's some key employee policies and programs in place that, it's getting to a point where it could be handed off to somebody else that wants to continue on with that something. And then it becomes valuable to them as
Yes.
well as us.
That is awesome. Well, and one of the reasons that I was curious too is because at first your business was Matt Hall and Sons, and then it
Yeah.
so the brand changed, the name changed. It does a is a business more saleable when it doesn't have your name totally stamped on it, right? It
Yeah.
so I thought that was interesting. So
I
thank you for
think nationwide, there are a handful of building companies that have a name on them. And most all of those that are worth something to somebody else are very production oriented. Um,
Mhm.
so it gets hard when you put your name on it. People want to talk to that name all the
Yeah.
time, which is great. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy helping people, maybe to a fault. Some of our team might say, I get
Sure.
involved too much. But I think it comes from a place of really wanting to provide people with a solution.
Well, and with you have the word care in that mission, that obviously speaks volumes as well. So,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
my last question for you is all subjects open. Matt, what inspires you most?
So there's things that inspire me in business, and I think there's things that inspire me personally. Um, from a business standpoint, I love that the company isn't about just me. What we do isn't just about Matt Hall, and we really have become a resource for people to provide solutions. That's rewarding and inspiring to me. All business, at the end of the day, has to provide some sort of a solution to a problem. And when we focus less on ourselves and we focus more on the client, it's like, wow, a lot of things seem to work themselves out. So um, that's inspiring to me from a business. Building a good team, not just employing people and making money, because money has never been the focus. It's important, of course, but finding people and giving them an opportunity and a platform for them to do what they enjoy. I think that's rewarding for me as well. Personally, I've got two great kids. They're both in the military. Chose to go down a path that was harder versus easier. My daughter's at the Air Force Academy. My son went to a military institute, Virginia Military Institute, and then did ROTC and didn't get anything for free, which benefits, scholarships. Those are awesome, but they got something, but they have to contribute and pay back with their time. That's the most valuable thing. So really proud of them. Family. My role with them is more of an advisor now
Uh,
than necessarily a caretaker. I'm a grandpa. My 25-year-old son
oh my
had
gosh,
a
congrats.
child. So yeah, you look at life a little bit differently. So
Totally. Well, you don't look like a grandpa, but congratulations.
yeah,
So that
thanks.
is so wonderful. Seriously, thank you so much for your service, for talking about business in a whole different way than I've actually ever had the opportunity to hear. So thank you for that. Thank you for your children who are serving too.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
Now, if somebody wants to connect with you with HighPoint to have a consultation, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you or the business at large?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, going on our website, highpointwi.com is a great way to see some of our stuff. And there's a little contact us. That's the best way. I usually respond personally to all of those inquiries and just find out what they're looking for. And I mean, ultimately, the best thing to do is go meet people in their home, in their space, find out what they're looking for, give them an opportunity to interview us and find out if we're the right fit for them. If you want to build new homes or remodel, the best thing to do is just to meet in person. You can pick up the phone and give us a call. We're on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, all of that. And we're pretty good about responding quickly.
And then one last question, Matt. So you are in Wales, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What is your radius that you kind of work in?
Yeah, well, so we do a lot in the Lake Country area, Delafield, Heartland, Oconomowoc. But we have two projects, West Bend. We have another one down by Twin Lakes, believe it or not. So we do cover a big area. Obviously, Lake Country is kind of our focus and where we do most of our work. But I'll travel a little bit further for the right opportunity where we can provide something for somebody that, wants what we do.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for providing awesome service and your service, Matt.
Yeah,
Good
thanks.
luck in 2023. Congratulations on that grandchild too.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure.